Hey, what's up guys, OSG here with another quick review and giveaway. I've been sent this games console. You can get this on AliExpress. It's around about £26. So let's open it up and see what's in the box. I will be giving this away at the end of the video to a Patreon. So opening the box, you get 2 controllers, pretty standard. Don't feel too cheap, to be honest. Quite like the PlayStation. There's a white one there. Yeah, I've never even had that one out. And then in here we have the games console. I'm surmising. Yeah, let's have a look. So inside here, yeah, as suspected, it's not a games console. It's actually a 500GB hard drive. So this isn't just plug and play by any means. You need a system to play it on. Some of the emulators on here need a pretty beefy system as well for PlayStation 3, Switch, stuff like that. So it's a nice enclosure. If you haven't got a system and you win this, then you can just use it as you could use it as whatever you want. Sell it on eBay or whatever, right? It's quite nice. But for £26, I don't think you can go wrong. I'm going to play a quick montage of some of the games on here. We'll start with some of the low-end systems up to the high-end systems, and then I'll come back at the end of the video to do the spin of the wheel, see who wins. Whoever wins, I'll get this sent off to them and they'll get it within a couple of weeks. Okay, right, bye. Okay, so let's take a look at what this thing can do. I say this thing, remember, this is not actually running these games, it's your computer. So I'll put my specs at the top corner here, because some of these emulators definitely won't run on a bog standard laptop. Anyway, here goes. Software this runs on is Retrobat, but at its core it's emulation station. It has a neat front end that starts off like Netflix for games, but then turns into what many might recognise as a Hyperspin-like setup. Make no mistake though, this is nowhere near as good as Hyperspin. We have a wheel of systems with the usual suspects, although missing the likes of C64, but these can be added pretty easily, and there's tutorials all over on how to add games to emulation station. Anyway, in this video we will look at a few older systems as well as a few newer, more demanding emulators, just to see how they run, and it's surprisingly good. First up we have Commando on the Atari 2600. As expected, everything runs as it should, because let's face it, you could run this system on a potato. There are some great games on this thing for the Atari, so very nostalgic. Moving on, we have Castlevania on the NES. Again, nothing too extensive here, so as expected, the emulation is good, and again this will play on a low spec machine with good results. Next up we have Robocop on the Game Boy. I'm sure somewhere in the settings of Emulation Station you can turn off this god awful green filter. Other than that, this plays great, and it's one of the best Robocops on any system. Now we have one of the more obscure systems on the games console that isn't a console, and that's the GX4000. Batman is running as it should, although if I didn't know better I would say there was a problem with the colours, but hey, that's just Amstrad for you. Next up, we move on to a 16-bit with the SNES, and of course if you're going to play a game on the SNES then it's got to be Turtles in Time because it's class. Emulation is good and no issues with this. Let's try a bit of arcade now with Street Fighter 2. As expected, most of the games, in fact all of the games I tried in MAME work perfectly, and this is definitely the place you will use both controllers the most because there were so many great 2-player arcade games. Now we move on to the worst emulator system on this thing. To be honest, when I review these systems, the N64 is always one that has issues, and again, no change here. Got to be down to the emulator settings though, because I've played GoldenEye on a standalone emulator on my PC many times and Bond never stutters like this. Maybe some tweaking would sort it out. I tried Smash Brothers too, and although it ran much better than GoldenEye, still had major problems. Game Boy Advance now and Double Dragon Advance. No problems here apart from the fact that I nearly played it all the way through while getting 45 seconds worth of footage. It's so good. Moving on to some of the more powerful systems next, with the Dreamcast. Personally, I can't fire up the Dreamcast without playing a bit of virtual tennis, and as you can see, the short game ended up being a full championship. Anyway, the emulation is great on this one, but this is definitely the point where you will need something not bog standard as a PC to get good results. PSP next, which is sometimes a stumbling point, but the emulation runs smooth and you can play all your favourite games from maybe the best handheld ever made. Well, in my eyes anyway. There was nothing like it at the time. Up now, PS3 and God of War, so I'm going to say that a lot of people won't be able to run this. It's pretty hard on your system, but on my specs it runs okay. Not great though, so again, think it's the settings. This RPC S3 runs the game perfectly when I use it as standalone emu. Wii U and Mario Kart 8 now. Again, slightly glitchy, and another one that I play regularly in Launchbox on my PC with any problems. I'm sure you could tweak the settings and get this running spot on, but this isn't for my system, so whoever wins this can sort that out. Next up is the 3DS, being emulated through Citra. This is Shinobi and it's a game I love on the system. Emulation is good, and this is one that a lot of people will be blown away with if they can play it on their PC. And now the newest system on the hard drive, and that's the Switch. I've gone all old school and showed the intro to the remastered Flashback because it's a great game. No issues emulating here for me, and Yuzu or Suyu or whatever it's called these days is one of my favourite emulators ever, even though Nintendo have tried to shut it down. Okay, so there you have it. It runs almost everything acceptable apart from GoldenEye on the N64, but maybe with some tweaks this could be remedied. The controllers play well, and although they are obviously cheap, while playing I never noticed that, and they were really comfortable in the hand. The newer systems ran well, especially the Switch and the PS3, but like I say, this is very much down to your system, so don't go buying this thinking you are getting what it says on the box, because this is in no shape or form a games console. Right, my verdict is, for the price, it's really not bad. You get a 500GB hard drive with 2 controllers for £26, and then there's the setup, which unlike some of these things is pretty smooth, and everything seems to work well as far as I've looked. My only advice is, if you did want something like this, then maybe try running the likes of Citra and Yuzu, or whatever it's called nowadays, on your system first, just to make sure they can handle the emulation. If it does, then 26 quid is a no-brainer for me. Okay, so let's give this thing away. As usual, the paid Patreon names are on the wheel, and whoever wins this will get it delivered to their door after winning. So here we go. And the winner is Vic Kulaki Jr. I'll drop you a message on Patreon, and then you can give me your address and I'll get this off to you. Don't worry if you didn't win this, because I've got something a little special to give away next time in this bad boy, the new Ambernic RG35XX SP, which I have to say is one of my favourite retro handhelds to date. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope I've enlightened you to the games console. That isn't a games console, and if you want to buy one, the link is in the description. Please remember to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more great retro content. Oh, and if you would like to become a Patreon like these guys going up the screen right now, get on over to my Patreon channel, where you can pledge for as little as $1 that will get you perks like your name in the end credits, video requests, giveaways like this one, and more in the future. Till next time, this is OSG, signing out.